Good afternoon, Jeek.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Jeek. Hi.
Jeek.
Who are you?
From Driftland. So you were bringing me out on the track here. I thought you might want to tell us about what happens to the drift track during the week when it's not being drifted on, and what happens after people have been drifting on it.
Yeah, so basically people, you hear quite a lot of people saying, oh, why don't the real racetracks let drifters come along and use their tracks, or why are they so expensive, or why is it only BDC that gets to use these awesome fast tracks? And I thought we would let you see exactly why real racetracks don't like drifters. I'm going to show you the damage and the mess and just generally the chaos that happens to the track on a weekly basis. So follow me and I'll show you.
Okay. So we are on Friday here. We had a drift day on Sunday, about 40 people here.
Yeah.
So 40 lots of cars pounding the track.
Yeah.
We ran two different layouts as well, so this is going to work out quite well. But
we did.
Pretty much they got every corner backwards and forward.
They got absolutely everywhere. So we'll start off with this gravel trap here.
Okay.
I pull this all back and fix it, twice a month probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes approximately one drift day for it to get back to this point again, where you can see we're getting down to the harder stuff underneath.
Oh yeah.
And then as you go further and further and further down, the hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
This hole's huge at this point.
Well, I'm like a foot higher here.
Yeah, than here.
Where the track is.
This bit looks really brutal coming up here. This ledge they've got.
Yeah, you know, we added this strip of concrete in order to protect the track edge, but it doesn't matter how much we add. Drifters will always want more.
Yeah, if you let them push it a little bit further and give them a little bit wider, they'll take that.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast. We're always trying to find the raggedy edge and sit right on it, and it's nigh impossible to not fall off. You can also see here what happens is the loose planings that get fired up onto this banking.
Oh yeah.
Then we get people, it's generally on BDC weekends, we don't see normal practice day guys ending up in here, but generally on BDC weekends somebody comes, pushes all this gravel right up the hill.
Great.
Hence it needs replenished every...
Yeah, and that's really tricky to get back out of that kind of half grass, half rock.
Yeah, that's there forever now.
Or forever.
That's the hills gravel now.
Belongs to the hill.
But yeah, we add like 20 tons of this every year at least.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last very long.
No, it doesn't. And the idea behind the concrete is because we would rather that if you're going to chip the edge of the track away, that the edge of the track was the concrete you were taking away rather than the tarmac.
Yeah, the concrete's much tougher. The tar, as you can see here, before we had this curb in, you can see all these big scratches here. It's just
pretty deep.
People dropping a tyre off and then their exhaust or their cross member or something fairly structural hitting the track. So we add these bits of concrete in mostly to protect the edges of the track rather than the cars themselves.
And that kind of ties in with why we don't allow people to just burst their tyres willy-nilly and drive around on the rims.
Yeah, that and why we generally ask people to try and stay on the track as much as they possibly can. We know it's hard, we're drifters, we've done it, we've all dirt dropped, we've all went off, but it's just the repeated, you can see the amount, how quickly it digs big holes and how much concrete we need to add in order to try and protect. Because you know, if we start wearing away the track, once the tar's gone, that's it.
Yeah, the tar is super expensive, that's it. We're not building another track for you guys.
No chance.
Hi.
This is our new section of tar that we actually added that wasn't built by the original owner or the original landlord. Again, you can see where people have dropped off as they come across this corner, taking chunks out. It's all starting to crack away.
Oh, that's nasty.
It's nasty, it's nasty. This part of track's probably never had a skid done on it. If anyone wants to be the first person, have a virgin bit of tar, this is your area.
If you're in this bit of tar though,
you're way offline.
bearing in mind that's the track over here, then you're doing something wrong, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This side again, you can see the original curb that we had and how big the curb extension had to be in order to stop people falling into big huge holes there. They got to the point there that we were starting to smash sumps, as the hole on this side of the original curb was so big we couldn't keep it filled up, So we filled it with concrete. It doesn't move.
Basically doubled the size of this curb here.
Yeah, and people still cutting the inside.
Yeah, so we've got normal. Yeah, we've got normal curb here. We've got extra curb that we put in here, and then there's this bit that people still seem to keep using. That's crazy.
So this is one of the faster bits of the track. It's also a slow down area, and we also the proper line through here is to be as wide as possible.
But there's an issue with being as wide as possible.
There is. We end up with these big holes, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm standing in one just now. But the real issue, the real problem is this. If you look from this side of the curb here, you can see that we're starting to undercut the track. And there's actual bits off track coming away.
Taking bits of track away, guys. Oh no.
This used to be a perfectly straight line the whole way along here.
Yeah,
and as you get down to here, whereas the main dirt drop area, there is at least 6 inches of tar, which is no longer tar. It's now in this pile somewhere.
Does this make you sad inside?
A little bit, a little bit.
I can see why this makes you upset when people go off.
Yeah, and when I'm going round in the sweeper Y, I generally come back in a little bit grumpy because I have a lot of time to look at all this stuff. But you can see this sort of black area here is the sweeper being emptied basically. So we use the sweeper remnants to try filling back in the holes at the side of the track. So this is all spongy tyre dust.
I suppose that's quite forgiving if you do tend to go off the track as well.
It's nice and soft for the cars, and it's relatively easy for us to pull back with the digger and fix the edges. So
how often do you have to go and attend to this area?
Yeah, this one's quite often, to be fair. This one's every 3 weeks probably.
Yeah.
To be fair, it could be done every week if we had time, but there just isn't time to do everything every week.
Yeah, so it's like there's an extra like 5 hours a week of just tidying up with the digger here.
Yeah.
Remember, you didn't used to have a digger.
Yeah, I had to do it by hand.
Oh my goodness.
And then you end up with lovely remnants like this.
Ugh.
This is ideal, just what you want.
Ideal. Difficult to dispose of.
Yeah.
It looks quite deep here.
Yeah, this is the main dirt drop area. It takes it tight. It's also, unfortunately for us, it's also one of the main drainage areas down at the bottom of the track here. So I'm not quite sure how to address this. If anybody is a concrete mastermind and wants to come down and help us work out how to keep this drainage but also make it a bit tougher, then let me know, because I've got no idea what I'm doing.
What if you're not an expert but you've watched a lot of late night TV?
I've already watched all the late night TV, and I haven't seen anything that showed me how to fix this drain and concrete it and keep it all nice at once.
Right, so but if there's a new Amazon Prime show called Drain Busters or something,
I'm in.
Then you're the first man to be in it.
Australian Drain Busters.
And that's part of the main drain there, leading off up until the places where only JZX 100 chasers end up.
Yeah, if you make it out there, which few people have, then it's incredibly challenging for us to get your car back without it being in 100 pieces. As Ren just said, this is all drain. All of this site drains down into this corner, runs down here, and then down out into the drainage system. So you don't want to get in here. You don't. This is all big rocks underneath as well to try and keep some waterways for the water to flow. But yeah, don't come in here. Bad idea. The bad thing about using the tyre debris to fill back in the holes is that when people dirt drop into it, whoosh, it ends up all over the track.
Yeah, so, it does.
Like, none of this is actual drifty carnage. This is just people.
Yeah, so there's the tarmac's like quite far.
Yeah, it goes all the way up to here.
Yeah.
It's under here somewhere. Yeah, that's where it finishes.
Oh yeah. Again, if you're using that bit of tarmac though, you're probably doing something.
Then you're probably responsible for this hole.
Whee! That's deep.
It's a big one, and again, it's starting to compromise the
tarmac,
the edge of the track. Yep, it's going to have to be addressed with some concrete shortly.
Yep, that looks like an autumn concreting expedition for Ren and Kenny.
I love autumn concrete season. Woo! Just yet more carnage, yet more areas that we are constantly refilling. This is literally a weekly occurrence, this one. I'm not even sure how people end up out here with their wheels spinning so much.
I think people just overcook it, and then, you know, then they do a full 180 kind of on the handbrake kind of thing. I've been off the track in a lot of places, but here, never.
No, and look how, like...
It's far, isn't it?
This is how deep, this hole's that deep up to here. This has all been backfilled and backfilled and backfilled and backfilled and backfilled.
What are you doing, guys?
This is why proper racetracks can't deal with this. They have, you know, touring cars or super bikes or some prestige motorsport club that they don't want to fall off 3-foot deep holes in the side of the track.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's another great example of how extreme we have to go on the size of our curbs in order to stop people from creating holes. So we used to, in the early days, we used to have real big issues with people cutting these corners and digging holes on the inside.
Yeah, I'm standing here, for example, but most cars will probably see the track from about here and think, hey, I know the shortest way around this track.
Yeah.
Straight over here, and straight over this bit of concrete, oh, into your bum. I'd go.
We'd end up with a huge hole in here, which we used to try and fill back up with gravel. Then the gravel would get dragged out onto the track. The cars would then grind that gravel into the track, which then weakened the surface of the track. So we had to stop doing that, and we had to build huge concrete pads in order to stop it.
You could almost do a burnout in an F-150 on this.
Oh, like those two marks there? Check out that video, it's in our thingies.
Have a look at that, and then buy the F-150.
Yeah, that's coming up for sale just shortly. It's going to be perfect.
Look at this, this is nasty. So this is where, if anyone cuts the curb, this is where they come back onto the track again, and then we've got massive gouges out here. And there's not really any way of repairing those, is there?
I mean, I think you could probably pour a big chunk of bitumen into it, but I don't think it would really add much.
No, and it's going to be quite patchy as well.
Yeah, we just need people to stay on the track best they can.
Yeah.
So we don't ask people to stay on the track all the time, just the best they can. Yeah, another big dirt drop area. This one actually was new. This one didn't exist up until we filled in the concrete on the curbs.
Okay.
And it actually allowed people then to straight line the S's.
Got you.
So they all ended up wider here, and we created a new problem area for ourselves.
This is quite deep.
Yeah, and this again, it keeps getting filled back in. This one's really difficult to keep tidy.
And you don't really notice this when you're driving around the track. You're too busy drifting to really see what's happening down here, and you can't see the chaos here from over in the spectator area either.
Yeah, even if you could, you probably wouldn't care. But you're watching this video, so you must be relatively interested in what happens.
It's either that or you're waiting for the card to pop up in the corner of the screen here to take us to you to the Driftland shop. One of the two. Again, another area where we had to add a huge bit of concrete, and another area that just keeps getting dropped off the edge. So yeah, because the line naturally wants to start to push you wide around here.
Yeah, and this was a straight edge on the concrete back in the day.
Making this, and this was a smooth edge we put.
Yeah, but the cars just keep dropping off. They break another little bit here, break a bit there.
Again, this is a choice between breaking all this lovely concrete that we put down, or breaking the track.
Yeah, and you see all there's loads more marks, big gouges out of the track all the way along here.
Yeah, there is. It's nasty.
Quite a few slow rollovers here. Mike Mack, he enjoys the scenic route through here.
Mike Mack Arena here. What happens on the exit of this corner here?
Dirt drop city!
Yeah.
Again, we were compromising the edges of the tar, so we added a huge section of curves with some experimental grasscrete concreted into it.
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of worked.
It's sort of worked, apart from the one that Kenny didn't concrete very good.
Is that the one that he put that was higher than the track?
Yeah, and mostly sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up here, it's almost fully escaped now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, that wasn't his finest work.
No, this stuff's not too bad.
Yeah. And this is sort of keeping the concrete together as well, isn't it? Despite
well, that's the plan.
Best efforts.
That is the plan, but this one, not so much. That one's just sitting there. It's actually fully loose now.
That's like a 5 to 5 job, that one.
Yeah.
So probably revisit that one.
We'll be fixing that. But then, to be fair, we need to fix this whole area up here.
Yeah, this is, again, if you push on past that bit we've redone, then you're into a bit of bother here, to be fair, if you're up off the track here.
What generally happens here is people who dirt drop into here real bad quite often end up face first into the wall just up there.
David Stewart did that, I remember.
Yeah, quite a few people have done it. But yeah, again, the right line, the perfect line out of the S's does bring you all the way out to the edge here. So we can't really be angry, but I am anyway.
Yeah,
but we need to address it.
Again, this is all like the cost of this. Now people think, here, hang on, it's just cement's cheap, I can just chuck some cement down here. It doesn't really work like that though, does it? No,
there's obviously the work, the time to do it. There's owning a digger 24/7 all day every day that you need maintenance and stuff. And it's just, you know, well, imagine the nicest thing that you own, and you let people come along to borrow it and they destroy it every time you do, and every time you have to go back out and fix it again. Like, I'm prepared for it, but it still just hurts my insides just a little bit.
I think it's the gratitude that they otherwise show that makes it okay.
Yeah, well that's a different.
We'll have a look at the track.
Another story for another day.
Yeah. Again, big gouges out the edge of the track there where cars are rejoining. Concreted all the way along here. Again, it's all going to need redone. Damn. The main straight's not really something we've tackled with concreting so far.
It's not, and it's getting past ridiculous now.
Yeah.
We're actually starting to undercut the track.
Yeah, again, there's no good reason to be over here, but
it's steep now.
People do end up here.
You know what else is really annoying about this? Cutting the grass. Because these things grow all right up the outside, but you can't get the lawnmower down into here.
You can't cut that.
It makes it quite awkward. But look how deep that hole is. You could basically just put concrete straight back in that. You wouldn't even have to prep it.
That's already prepared for concrete.
But if you leave it that big, then before you know it, you've done 20 cubes of concrete.
Yeah, and so for the guys who don't know, a cube of concrete is not the cheapest thing or the most easy to get delivered or create yourself either. So quite an expensive proposition getting 20 cubes of concrete.
Yeah, plus we have no idea how many cubes that would actually take to fill that, so we basically have to either get 20 tons and hope we run out before we run out of space to put it, or get the pay-as-you-go stuff, which is much more expensive, but then you don't have the waste. So I've done it both ways before. They both have their pros and cons. One's more expensive, the other one you literally just end up finding a hole in the ground to pour what's left of the concrete in.
Yeah, that's probably not prepared in the way you
It's not ready, it didn't need it. What?
Look at that tush though. Great. Smashing. Lovely. You can tell you've been on a bicycle or two in your time.
The wall, crash into the wall all you like. All it costs us is some paint. Nobody's ever moved the wall. Don't think anybody will ever move the wall.
So the wall we repaint what, twice a year roughly?
Yeah, at least twice a year. It takes 2 people a full day. The wall's not too expensive, probably costs about 300-400 quid a paint for the wall, I would say. Okay. Thereabouts.
What do the curbs cost?
The curbs are considerably more expensive.
Right, okay.
We use sort of gritted floor paint like you would have in a workshop.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit harder wearing, but it's also quite considerably more expensive. I think it's about 80 quid a tin, and we use at least 6 tins of each colour each time we paint it. We've painted it twice this summer so far. So
yeah, so you're 1,000 quid a time.
Yeah, and then people wonder why I'm like, why did I burn out on my curb? Like, come on.
Oh, Jeek, that's not on your track,
to burn it on the curb. So yeah, that really upsets me, because you can literally, when somebody does a burnout on a fresh curb, the burnout smoke is red or blue, so you can literally see your money going up in smoke.
Yeah, and we've seen cars, we've filmed them before, and you come out and look in their front alloys, they've got bits of blue and red on them.
Yeah.
They've just been straight over the nice, pristine curbs digging into them.
So this is the action. This is where the action happens on the wall. Looks like somebody with a E46 compact had a slight incident with the wall at the weekend.
A nice banner there as well, that's good.
But this area here shows you why the wall needs painted. There's no getting around it. You know, like, there's actually bits of light
and stuff
stuck in the wall.
Wow.
And this was painted just before BDC, so it's had what, like
so
3 drift days on it?
Yeah, 3 drift days worth of damage. And this is all stuff, will the sweeper get all this stuff that's under
The sweeper will get most of it. This bit's probably too big and will block the hose, so this will be picked up by hand.
Yeah.
So anything that's that sort of size needs collected by hand. Anything smaller, what the sweeper will get. But
and that pretty much goes all the way up the side of the wall here.
We've still actually got some probably Driftland bash rear window glass, possibly from Stewie Bryant's car.
Oh yeah. Stewie, if you're coming back, you can clear that up still, mate.
But yeah, this is where the rubber congregates the hardest. It's where folk are coming in the hardest. Big entries, all the rubber, you can see it all stuck to the wall. So this needs to get tidied up.
And this all ends up in our street sweeper.
Yeah, and then back in the holes.
Ideal. Oh, kidney grills.
Kidney grill.
Go on.
Who wants to buy a kidney grill with every clip broken off it?
If it's cheap, most of the Driftland.
Yeah. And under here is a gravel trap. This has now got so deep with rubber that I've not really got a way of getting it out.
No.
It's the rubber's corner now.
There is all the gravel that we bought and stuck there underneath it.
Yeah, it's underneath.
I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah, that's the rubber's corner now. I've given up on it.
This is is that some spoiler?
That's somebody's carbon fibre end plate. We should probably give that away on somebody want this? Put it in the comments if you want this.
Yeah, sounds cool. That's nice.
Pair of scissors. You do find some of the most random stuff.
What?
Value scissors from Westcott.
Why?
Well, what happens is
I know people put stuff on the bootlids of their
people
cars.
put stuff in their cars, okay?
Right.
And then they watch a drift video and they're like, wow, that stripped out race car. That's what I need, a stripped out race car. So they start taking everything out of their car. They take all the carpets up. They take everything that's nice out of their car, and they end up with big holes in the floor. And then all of this, we've had snap-on breaker bars this long ended up lying on the track. We've had, remember I found
what's the most ridiculous thing?
Dildos.
Dildos.
Many dildos. We had a private hire one time and the guy had a box of replica rampant rabbits which they stuck to every car.
They did, yeah.
And they were throwing them at each other.
You were on holiday and didn't really know anything about it until you got back.
I got back, driving around in the sweeper, doing my thing, and I was like, why is there a dildo down there? That's odd. And why is there a dildo over there?
It's
and why is there a dildo over there?
day.
There's dildos, raining dildos!
My teacher's gonna be so happy!
What else have we found? We found a working iPhone.
Oh yeah.
Which was still switched on, 1% battery, which we got back to the owner. Basically every 10mm socket and 13mm socket out of everybody's socket sets are in the sweeper, because there's not a day goes by we don't find sockets on the track.
Yeah, the main thing is that people take those grommets out of the floors of their car and then leave stuff lying around coming out of their pockets.
Yeah, that's a key. House keys and tow rig keys. The amount of people that have had to leave their tow rigs here. Yeah,
because you take the keys out your tow rig and then get into your drift car and then you drive around, get thrown around in your badly fitting bucket seat, and the keys come out of your pocket.
This our official gravel trap. Again, this had about 40 tonne of stone added into it before BDC, and it was beautiful, nice and flat, no gap down the side there. And then BDC came and shot most of it up the hill to where we had to build our new nets to keep everybody safe, which were moderately successful at best. A few people got stopped, a few people never got hit by a stone, but some people still did. So yeah, if you stand up there on BDC weekend, it's at your own risk.
What about this edge here? I'm concerned about the edge.
Yeah, it's another one of those ones where it's a big hole, but you need the gravel trap here to try and get the cars to scrub their speed, or they end up here. And we're seeing it more and more as people get more confident, and their cars are getting faster. They're starting to run Westlakes. The pace that they're holding up here, Clive Littlechild often jokes about somebody going clean up and landing in the car park up there. But based on our rate of progression currently, it's only a matter of time.
Busy.
It's only a matter of time before somebody at least makes it up to that fence.
It's the fence. Yeah, we've had cars make it up onto this little intermediary ledge here,
Yeah.
350Z, and Toby nearly made it up there.
Toby, yeah.
15.
Yep, Toby just about made it up there a few times. Adam Ivel's just about been up there. Many people have been in, myself included. I've definitely jumped up around here
Oh yes.
in the 34, but yeah, it's just what happens.
What about this last bund here? This one gets quite a bit of action because it's on the sort of, if you get this big corner wrong, then this bund over here tends to be what you end up in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see it used to all be covered in grass.
Yeah.
And this corner here, which is where people normally board slide up it, sort of bringing it. There's a lot of skateboarders that have moved over to drift and they haven't quite realised that you shouldn't try to board slide up here.
Most people that end up here are not facing the way the track is going.
No, generally they're past 90 degrees and sort of pointing back this way, and then they slide up and over here. Get a little teeter totter.
That's nasty.
But you can see here as well, because of our drainage, because of the way the cars are landing, big chunk out here, and then this area here is all cracked and is starting to crumble away. So this is what we're trying to avoid on the main areas of the track.
Yeah.
And that's why we're putting as many concrete bits in as we can to try, because once that happens, basically that's game's a bogey, Driftland's shut, let's go on holiday forever.
Doesn't sound so bad.
So I was planning on going and cutting the rest of the grass today, but stuff started raining.
It's alright.
So we'll leave Kenny to do that.
Superhuman grass cutting ninja. What a champion. Give us a wave! Wiggle your tush!
He's never hearing that.
No, he doesn't do any of that.
That's what Kenny's doing just now is one of the worst jobs in Driftland. The top of that bund is only half a foot wide, and basically it's a sheer drop down into a big stinky pond at the bottom full of stagnant, terrible, horrible water and mud.
It's a terrible fall, backward or forward.
Horrible, horrible. I have fell in there personally with the lawnmower, and that's why Kenny does it with a strimmer now.
Yeah, and again,
it's too risky.
Strimming the whole place, that's basically a day, and he does that in summer once every couple of weeks.
Every week, pretty much.
Every week.
Yeah.
So again, just another day, another man day lost.
And these bankings as well, you know, Kenny basically has a full day tug of war with him between him and a flymo. So he throws a flymo down the hill on a bit of rope, and then he pulls it back up, and then he repeats until he's done the whole way along that banking. And I can tell you from experience that it sucks. How Kenny still has arms like McDonald's straws, I do not know.
Yeah, why is he not?
He should be buff as anything by now. He should be a total hunk.
Do you know why? It's because he doesn't eat cheese.
Maybe.
He eats cheese in his diet.
Maybe.
So all the delights you get behind the scenes tour of owning and running a drift track.
Yeah, so that is why real racetracks hate drifters, and why I moderately hate drifters and they all hate me, because I have to tell them to stop doing these things because I have to deal with the consequences of those things.
But if you didn't do that, then the track would disappear and then they wouldn't be able to drift anymore.
It'd be gone by now. We would have wore it away by now if we hadn't put in the bits that we have done already and plan to do in the future. So we're not just moaning for the sake of moaning. As much as I do like a good moan, it's not just for the sake of it, it's to try and preserve the track. Without a track, we all go back to Crail, and if you think I'm bad, then any of you OG guys will remember Jim, and I'm nothing compared to Jim. I've never like squared up to anybody and physically kicked them off site. That's Barney's job.
You've just caught Barney. Right, thanks for the walk around the track. Hopefully, well, I understand a bit more about it now. Hopefully you guys do too. Let's do something else about behind the scenes again.
Yeah, do a comment if you want this carbon fibre end plate. We'll try and work out whose car it's off.
I think it's Josh's.
I think it's Ollie Elmore.
Oh.
I think this is maybe a BDC wing. Nah, his is bigger. Maybe it is Josh.
It's ours now anyway. But it can be yours.
Whoever wants it.
It can be yours. Leave a comment. Best funniest comment gets it.
We would throw in a pair of scissors as well, but you might be under 13 and then I'll get the jail. So no scissors, I'm keeping them for my desk. You want this, comment, funniest comment, we'll post it out to you for some reason. Thanks guys!
Look at that walk.
I was going to say, you filming my bum again? This is for your personal collection, isn't it?
Hopefully you just keep all the little clips for me. Oh my goodness, that is smashing. This gives me another time to have a look at Jeek's incredible posterior.
I'm gonna have to cut all this fucking bum stuff out.
Two Schwarz. Look at that. A wee side angle view of it. Lovely. Oh, you're back.